2034. You open your banking app and everything has changed. Right now, today, the US dollar dominates everything. 70% of global transactions. Every country, every bank, every trade. The dollar is king. But something is happening. Quietly, systematically. China isn't just challenging this system. They're building a completely new one. And most people have no idea. In the next 10 minutes, I'll show you 3 massive shifts happening right now. First, the digital currency revolution that's already serving 300 million people. Second, the infrastructure project connecting 150 countries. And third, the gold strategy that changes everything. By the end, you'll understand why your money, your investments, and your financial future might look very different in 2034. Let me set the stage. For 80 years, the US dollar has been the world's reserve currency. What does that mean? Simple. When Brazil trades with Germany, they use dollars. When Japan buys oil from Saudi Arabia, dollars. It's not their currency, but they have no choice. This gives America enormous power. They control the payment system. They see every transaction. They can freeze anyone's assets with a click. Now, here's shift number 1. While we've been debating crypto, China built something completely different. The ECNY, the Digital Yuan. Not a cryptocurrency, a government-controlled digital currency. Here's how it works. Every yuan is digital, instant, trackable, no credit cards, no banks in the middle, no fees. And here's the scale. 300 million people are already using it. That's the entire United States population. 25 cities fully deployed. Millions of transactions every single day. And it's not just for shopping. During the Beijing Olympics, foreign visitors used it. Now China is testing it for cross-border trade. That means international payments without dollars. Why does this matter? Control. When you use dollars, American banks see everything. With the digital yuan, China sees everything. Every purchase, every payment, every transaction. But here's the bigger play. If other countries adopt this system, suddenly, trade happens without dollars. The dollar's dominance weakened. Shift number 2, the Belt and Road Initiative. You might have heard of it, but most people don't understand the scale. Since 2013, China has invested over $1 trillion. That's trillion. With a T, 150 countries signed on. Ports in Pakistan, railways in Africa, 5G networks in Southeast Asia, entire cities built from scratch. But here's what matters. It's not just about infrastructure, it's about financial infrastructure. When China builds your port, they also set up the payment system. When they fund your railway, Chinese banks handle the financing. These countries start using Chinese financial technology, Chinese payment apps, Chinese banking standards, the digital yuan. Now, you might have heard debt trap diplomacy. China loans money. Countries can't pay. China takes control. Is it true? Sometimes. Kenya's railway, Sri Lanka's port. But here's the more important pattern. Most countries are paying back just fine, but they're paying in yuan. They're trading with China in yuan, and slowly their economies are integrating with China's financial system, not through force, through convenience, through infrastructure, through technology that simply works better. And now, shift number 3, the one that changes the game, gold. For the past 15 years, China has been buying gold, quietly, consistently, massively. Official reserves 2,264 tons, but experts believe the real number is much higher, maybe 4,000 tons, maybe more. Why? Because gold backs currency. The more gold you have, the more your currency is trusted. And here's the play. If the digital yuan is backed by gold, it becomes more attractive than the dollar. The dollar, backed by trust and military power. The yuan, backed by gold and infrastructure. So what does this mean for you? Let's get practical. First, your investments. If the dollar weakens, dollar-based assets lose value. Stocks priced in dollars, bonds, savings accounts, smart money is already diversifying. Some gold, some international stocks, some assets in different currencies. Second, your purchasing power. If more countries use yuan, Chinese products might get cheaper, but American products abroad, more expensive. Travel costs shift, import prices change. Third, your career. If you work in finance, international trade, or tech, understanding China's financial system becomes crucial. It's not optional anymore, it's essential. And here's the bigger picture. This isn't just about money, it's about power. Financial dominance means you set the rules, you see the data, you control who participates. For 80 years, America had that power. By 2034, they'll have to share it. And China isn't doing this alone. BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, now expanded to include Saudi Arabia, UAE, Egypt, Iran. Together, they represent 45% of the world's population, and they're all talking about one thing: trade without dollars. They're exploring a BRICS currency, backed by commodities, gold, oil, rare earth metals. Will it happen tomorrow? No, but the conversation itself changes everything, because it shows countries are looking for alternatives, and China is leading that conversation. Now, before you panic, is China going to replace the US dollar by 2034? Probably not completely. The dollar is still king. The US military still dominates. The dollar is liquid, trusted, and everywhere. But here's what is happening. The dollar's percentage is shrinking from 70% to 60% to 55%. And China's alternative systems are growing from 2% to 5% to 10%. It's not about replacement, it's about alternatives. For 80 years, there was one system. You used dollars or you were locked out. But by 2034, there will be two systems, maybe three. Countries will have options. Trade with the US, use dollars. Trade with China, use yuan. Trade with both, use whatever works. This is called a multipolar financial world, and it fundamentally changes global power. Here's my prediction, pure speculation, but educated. By 2034, the digital yuan handles 15 to 20% of global trade. The dollar still handles 50 to 55%. The rest, split between euros, yuan, and local currencies. China's payment apps work everywhere, just like Visa and MasterCard today. And the biggest shift, your kids will think of money differently. Not as paper, not even as cards, as data. Controlled by whoever runs the system. The financial world is changing. Not tomorrow, but it's happening. The question isn't if China will matter, it's how much. Stay informed, stay diversified, and whatever you do, don't assume tomorrow looks like today.